Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Mariela Salinas, and I'm a marketing specialist here at Educate 360. Welcome to today's webinar, AI IQ, Decoding the Intelligence of Artificial Intelligence, presented by our expert instructor, Tom Payne. We are in Zoom for today's session, and we will be sharing a copy of this recording with you in an email after the webinar. We do encourage participation throughout the webinar, so please use that chat or that Q&A option for our short Q&A portion after the presentation. Educate 360 is so excited to present this webinar today. I will now hand it over to you, Tom.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. This is an amazing age that we live in, an age of AI, and getting to know what AI can do for us is key. It's crucial. So we're going to start out understanding AI a little bit, introducing AI and how important it is in the current culture that we live in. We'll talk a little bit about how it works, the design behind AI and how we can use it to get valuable solutions. And then we will discuss some real world applications. How can you use AI? What does that mean for you and your organization and your career? So let me start out by saying every organization on the planet exists to deliver value. So whether you work for a government agency, whether you work for a publicly traded company, a nonprofit, an educational institution, a church, whatever, every organization exists to provide value to someone else. And as you consider your organization and its mission statement, the mission statement is usually a brief summary of the value that we provide. Here's why we exist, right? Now, if you go back in time, organizations have existed for a long time and they've always existed to deliver value. And if you go back to the 80s, computers became affordable enough, not only for the government or big organizations to own a computer, but even small organizations, medium-sized organizations could afford computers. And those organizations that adopted computers and worked with computers, they had an advantage over the other organizations that were afraid of the new technology. So in the 1980s, you almost had no choice but to adopt computers. In the 70s, you maybe ran your business with pencil and paper ledger books, but when computers made it available for you to have, spreadsheets and databases, you almost had to adopt them if you even wanted to keep up. In the 1990s, the internet came around. And the internet, same deal. You might think, why would I hook my company up to the crazy internet? There's viruses and hackers, and especially in the 90s when it was still kind of new. But again, if you didn't hook up to the internet, you couldn't use email and you couldn't browse for all that information that was out there on the internet, and you couldn't publish your company's information to a broad audience. Again, companies that were afraid of the internet had a technical and a competitive disadvantage. In the 2000s, it was smartphones. If your company was still issuing BlackBerry devices, right? Even BlackBerry devices allowed our company to gain value from our employees after hours, on vacation, on the weekends. If I had a BlackBerry device, I could send and receive email even when I wasn't at work. And when the iPhone was invented and Android became so popular, nobody wanted to carry around the BlackBerry and their iPhone. So companies had to adapt and allow your employees to bring their own phone, use their own phone to do work things. Now think about that. If you have corporate sensitive information that's on somebody's cell phone, that cell phone gets lost on the bus, gets pickpocketed when they're on vacation, whatever. Our company data is now in the hands of strangers. Is it really a good idea to put our corporate data on smartphones? Well, if you're afraid of that, you're at a competitive disadvantage to the companies that do. In the 2010s, it was moving to the cloud. If you didn't move to the cloud, you're paying too much and working too hard. There's so many amazing cloud services out there for so much less money. If you don't take advantage of that, you're falling behind. Like, for example, if you have a website you have to consider the peak traffic load of your website. If you don't have enough bandwidth, enough server power for peak loads, there's going to be times when people try to go to your website and they can't get to it because you didn't have enough bandwidth, enough server power. So if you buy enough server power and bandwidth for the peak, so you can handle your peak traffic, what happens the rest of the year when you're not hitting your peak? Then you just paid for all that computer power, and all that bandwidth is being wasted. You're wasting value. So getting in the cloud allows you to pay just for what you need. And again, you have to put your stuff out on the cloud servers instead of being in control of it all on your own servers. So, but you have no choice really. So all of that being said, now we're in the 2020s. You have no choice but to adopt machine learning and artificial intelligence. If you don't, if you're afraid, the other organizations that you compete against, or even if you're a government agency, right, you will not be able to provide as much value as you should be providing. So business technology has evolved over the years, and we have to evolve with it. So AI is an evolution in of itself, right? What is AI? AI is artificial intelligence, meaning humans are intelligent. We can do things. I can say things and you can understand what I'm saying. I can look at a picture and tell you about it. I can read a paragraph and I can summarize it. I can look at some numbers and make a decision on what we should maybe do with that. So artificial intelligence is where we have a machine mimic those human capabilities. Can a machine speak? Can a machine listen? Can a machine translate from one language to another? Can a machine look at a picture and tell me what's in that picture? So the answer is yes, but it's been growing and evolving over the years. So a favorite story of mine is in the 1990s, AI beat the best human chess player ever. The best chess player, and it's debatable, but the best chess player ever is Kasparov, and a machine beat a human at a game of logic and a game of thinking chess. And that was pivotal. Deep Blue was the machine that did it. It was a machine made by IBM. Now, it was essentially what I would call an expert system, where the machine didn't really learn chess. Experts taught it exactly what to do in every situation. And the machine doesn't make a mistake. And humans, the best, even the best of us, make mistakes. So the machine was able to beat Kasparov at chess. And that was pivotal. Like, wow, that, machines can play a thinking game and do better than humans can. Now it's pretty common that chess machines are better than humans all the time. So machine learning comes into play. Machine learning means let's have, instead of me telling the machine exactly what to do and having a big database of rules that I programmed into it, let's let the machine learn on its own. So machine learning, you feed data into an algorithm or a model, and it produces a prediction. It produces some knowledge that maybe would have taken a human a long time to process and figure out. So customer profiles, for example, if you want to provide value to me, if I'm your customer, do not send me coupons for, makeup and perfume and body lotion, right? That's not my profile. If you send me coupons for technology gadgets and candy, you'll probably, I'll value that and I'll go buy your products. So knowing your customer is like gold. If you know what your customer wants, you know how to deliver value to them, they will value you and they will give you their money. Even if you're a government agency, if you can provide value to the citizens of your jurisdiction, then your organization, your sector of government will continue to be funded and continue to service the citizens. If you're not providing value, then you're at risk of being cut from the program, right? More recent advancements, if you go back maybe 5-7 years ago, deep learning and reinforcement learning, there was a machine called AlphaGo that played another game with the best human player on the planet. It's called the game of Go. Let me just take a moment. I'll show you what it looks like. So the game of Go, sometimes called Chinese chess, looks like this. And if you look, we're placing black and white tiles trying to capture territory. Now, here's the deal, that deep blue that beat the best human chess player, it was pre-programmed kind of with every possible situation. This game, you couldn't make a computer powerful enough to handle every possible situation. So what DeepMind did, the organization that created AlphaGo, they taught the machine how to play the game, and then they let it play games against itself. And they told it to make connections. When something ends up working, connect that to a win. When something doesn't work, connect that to, oh, that doesn't work. And the machine learned to play on its own. And it could play hundreds of thousands of games of Go, more than any human could play in our entire lifetime. So it learned a lot more. And when they finally challenged the best human Go player on the planet, it beat the best human 4 out of 5 times. And in hindsight, it's pretty amazing that the human actually could win a game against this thing, because this machine is just incredible. And here's the cool thing. There was a move that this machine made, right? The computer made a move that confused all the humans that were paying attention to it. There was play-by-play announcers. It was like the Super Bowl in Korea and stuff. So the play-by-play announcers all said, oh, that was a glitch. That move was a mistake. Don't know what the machine's thinking. That was weird. Lee Sedol, the guy who was playing, looked confused. So, but in the end, that weird move that no human would have ever made ended up being the move that let it win the match. And that was another like big moment in AI where that's not something that the humans taught it. It was creative. It made that move up. It learned that on its own. No human would have ever taught it to make that move. That's mind-blowing. Now we're, IBM's Watson beat the best Jeopardy players on the planet. And that has a lot to do with understanding the question and the language of the question. Siri and Alexa, they can understand what we're saying and talk back to us. And it doesn't sound like a robot. Back in the days, computers sounded like this. They sound like us now. That's AI generating language that just sounds like us, understanding our voice and what we're saying and being able to reply. That's amazing, right? Now we also have Chat GPT that can generate poetry and generate code and generate images, and generative AI can be creative. You want an image that hasn't ever existed on the planet before? All right, let's play. Let's play. I gotta hustle. Oh my goodness, I can't help myself. If I go to Bing and click on this Copilot button, this is just really Chat GPT. And so we can ask Bing to write a poem about AI. And it's going to generate a poem. It's not finding a poem online that it can copy and paste in here. Theoretically, there we go. In a world woven from bytes and light, a silent mind takes flight. Through circuits and code, it finds its voice in a realm of AI where data rejoices. All right. So at any rate, it can write a poem. If there's an image you want to create that's never existed before in the history of mankind, a duck wearing a vest dancing on the moon. If you go and you Google that or Bing that, I don't think there's any pictures anywhere on the internet of a duck wearing a vest dancing on the moon. But with AI, give it a moment and it will generate creatively an image. So when we talk about generative AI, we're talking about generating things that have never existed before. Hang on, I should have said an image. Show a picture of a duck wearing a vest dancing on the moon. Let me stop that one and we'll do one more. Okay, we'll come back and we'll look at our duck in a minute here. We got to get through some of this stuff. So AI is amazing. It can help your organization generate and deliver more value than ever before. So algorithms are what takes the data in and learns from it and gives us a prediction, gives us a result of some sort. Like if there's a hacker hitting your machine, how do you know that's a hacker and not like normal traffic? Well, a human could analyze what it's doing and say, hey, that looks malicious, right? Versus, no, that's not malicious. That seems like it's nice, whatever it's doing. So use AI to help detect cybersecurity threats. And the AI can learn from experience. We can help it, right? AIs and humans working together can help each other. We can help the AI learn. It can help us get work done that would have taken us a lot of effort. Back in the days, I worked for America Online as a tech support agent, and 80% of the calls I took were just answering simple questions. Wouldn't it be nice if instead of waiting on hold for 30 minutes to talk to somebody to get a simple answer, you could just ask your chatbot, ask your friendly chatbot, hey, how do I do this? Here's your answer. And if I have a question that is deeper, or maybe the chat doesn't quite give me an answer, then you can say, okay, chatbot, can you get me to a human being now? And then now I would have just spent the 20% of my time that I spent on harder topics doing that all the time. Let the AI handle a lot of these things. AI needs data. Without a lot of data, your artificial intelligence doesn't have a lot to learn from. Just like humans, we learn through experience, we learn through study, we learn by reading and learning through the data, through information. So AI is the same way. A data warehouse is a big store of data where you put all the data, and you can have an AI algorithm find patterns and trends and predict what's going to happen. Like, for example, let's say you're a grocery store. If you have to sell milk, right? If you order too much milk and it doesn't all get purchased, what happens with the extra milk? You have to throw it out, dump it down the drain. That's value that you're pouring down the drain because you bought it and you couldn't sell it. So now your value, you're dumping it down the drain. So don't order so much milk, right? If we don't order so much milk, we won't have to dump value down the drain. But now what if we run out of milk? Customers come into my store, they have money in their pocket, and there's no milk for them because we sold out. Dang, value walks out the door and they go to our competitor and they buy milk from the grocery store across the street. So if you order too much milk, you're dumping value down the drain. If you don't order enough milk, value's walking out the door. If you can order the exact right amount of milk, then you will maximize value and you'll be able to provide better deals to your customers, give them more value, which means they're giving you more value. You'll thrive. If you can't do that well, then the other grocery store across the street is going to thrive and you're going to struggle and maybe not even survive. So using AI to help you maximize value, right? And when we think about a data warehouse, diverse data types exist. What about weather information? What about the date? What about the time? What about the month? So if we knew, like, on a Tuesday in March when the weather is 60 degrees outside, here's how much milk is the sweet, perfect amount of milk. Then we could order the perfect amount of milk. And then wait a minute, what about when it's 30 degrees in November? How much milk do we sell on a weekend in November when it's whatever? And if we can answer those questions, we can provide more value and our organization will thrive. We'll simply thrive. And if you don't do the technology right, if you don't provide the value, then you'll go bankrupt. Just ask Kmart, just ask Blockbuster Video, just ask America Online. If you can't provide as much value as your competitor, then you will not survive. You'll struggle, right? Amazon comes along and Walmart comes along and Kmart can't keep up. They're not delivering as much value, so they're bankrupt. Sears is struggling. The biggest retailer for the past 150 years, Sears is struggling to keep up because they didn't use the latest technology. All right, so AI intelligence and human intelligence. Now this, I don't know if this is going to be true for much longer, right? AI is definitely better at humans at processing massive amounts of information and learning from it and showing us the trends and being able to learn from massive amounts of data. Computers are just better than us. Now, what are we better than? What are we better at than computers? Well, maybe we have a bit more of emotional intelligence, maybe creativity. Again, I don't know if that's always totally true, but I'll tell you, when you ask ChatGPT to generate, a poem or a screenplay or something like that, I don't know of any Oscar-winning movies that were generated by AI. Screenplays, not yet. So maybe we're still better at being creative. Maybe we're better at nuanced decision making. So where we have an advantage, the AI can still help us, right? So if we can work together, right, we can generate a better screenplay maybe with a cooperation, a collaboration between us and the AI. The AI can complement our skills, can free our time up to do more creative things or more, personal things. I'll tell you, example, Chat GPT, my daughter, when she graduated, gave a commencement speech. She's like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to say. So Chat GPT, give me a commencement speech. It did. It wrote up a pretty nice commencement speech. It sounded like it was hitting all the right notes, but it just didn't quite sound like my daughter, right? It didn't quite have the soul of my daughter. So in conjunction with Chat GPT, she used some of its ideas. She generated some of her own, and she gave an amazing commencement speech. Proud papa here. Proud papa. All right. AI, some ethical things to consider. When we have AI being creative, it might come up with something we're not ready for. When we train AI with data, is all the data we're feeding it data that was generated by just one segment of society? Are the people who coded the AI a bunch of white guys? Then how is it going to treat, women from India or, binary people from Asia or whatever? We need to consider how the AI is going to make decisions and make sure that it's fair and unbiased. Microsoft Tay was a chat bot. And remember, AI learns from data. So Microsoft created this chat bot and said, hey, what better way to learn than to actually interact with human beings? So they put Tay on Twitter live to chat with people. And it only took 16 hours, less than a day, before they had to take Tay off, had to turn off Tay, take her off Twitter. Why? Because it only took 16 hours for people to turn Tay into a racist, bigoted jerk. And Microsoft had to take her down. So you got to be careful with AI. It might learn things that you don't want it to learn, right? Chat GPT, they have to be careful with what it produces. If you ask Chat GPT to produce something that could be controversial or racist or something like that, it will probably tell you no. And sometimes if you followed Google Gemini a couple of weeks ago, had a big hubbub because it was being maybe too inclusive of other genders and races when you try to have it, generate an image of German troops in 1942, right? And you got a racially diverse set of people wearing these Nazi uniforms, right? That maybe we need to teach the AI to how to handle those kinds of things a little bit better. So at any rate, ethics get involved, right? The AI is being creative. It's making decisions. Is there a way for us to find out why the AI made that decision? Who's accountable? If the AI makes a decision that hurts someone, like let's say you have a self-driving car and it gets in an accident, who's responsible, right? Is it the car company? Is it the software company that created the AI? Is it the driver of the vehicle? Right? Who's responsible if that happens? Well, I'm not the driver. AI was driving. So how can you hold me responsible? And the car company might say, well, this is the company that coded the AI. At any rate, we've got to think about those things. And by the way, Google and Microsoft both have pretty good guidance on how to work with AI and consider ethics along the way. All right, AI and decision-making process. Again, we have massive amounts of data that we are able to store because of the computer and the digital era we live in. All that data isn't really all that useful unless we can turn it into some knowledge, right? So data becomes information when humans can read it. When humans read it, we learn stuff. We gain knowledge. We use our knowledge to then make wise decisions. So all that data should lead us to better decisions. And if you've ever had someone, a decision maker, make a bad decision, it was probably because they just didn't know something. They wouldn't have chosen that if they had known that would have been a bad decision. So AI can help us make better decisions. Is that car that just got in the accident totaled, or is it repairable? Insurance companies can hire an army of people to go make that decision, or we could just submit some images and the AI could tell us, yeah, that's cheaper to repair. Well, that one's going to be too expensive to repair, just mark it totaled. So we need data. The decision making gets better and better over time. The protein folding thing down here, there were master's degrees where the entire master's thesis was all about folding one protein. There's thousands of proteins. If we can learn how they fold, we can cure diseases and do medical advancements like we've never done before. And with AI, they're getting really good at that. They're doing that better than ever. So various industries could use AI. For example, healthcare. You can go to the most experienced doctor in the world, or you could go to all of the most experienced doctors in the world combined in one. Imagine AI as being your doctor, right? And it has the combined knowledge of every doctor. It's going to make a better diagnosis than maybe any human doctor could. It could revolutionize healthcare. We can show it the x-ray, and AI could notice the tumor or the fracture or the issue better than humans could maybe. In finance, we're all trying to make good investments, but we don't know what's going to happen in the market. But if you study the market, you might learn trends. AI can study more data than we can, be better at discovering trends. How do we prevent fraud? How do we, maximize profits? Manufacturing, AI can look at each product going by and kick out the defective ones and keep the good ones. AI can go in and notice, hey, this is going to need some maintenance. Instead of waiting till it breaks to fix it, AI can notice in advance. Oh, this needs some maintenance. Let's take care of it. We can maximize productivity, minimize downtime. Natural language processing. Again, AI is getting better and better at being able to speak, being able to listen, being able to generate natural language. ChatGPT is the big example. Right? ChatGPT can write code better than average people who got a degree in writing code. It's not as good as the best coders. In fact, it makes some silly errors quite often. I do coding, so I can see some of that stuff. But it can write code better than us. It can analyze your data and produce documents that fit in with what your data wants it to know. Right? ChatGPT browse the web, but your data isn't on the web. So if you want ChatGPT to make better decisions based on your data, you can do that, right? Instead of a human processing all the resumes, with natural language processing, we could have AI read the resume, and AI can, rate or kind of figure out if this person's going to fit the job role or not. Now, here's the cool thing. You do not need to go to MIT or to Stanford and become an AI, expert. Microsoft has already hired all of those AI experts, or Amazon or Google, but Microsoft has already hired those people, and they've created AI tools. And all you have to do is subscribe, and you can get natural language processing. You can get image detection and computer vision, where it can, recognize what's in an image. You can subscribe to AI and it can translate your things from English to German or Hindi or Chinese. You can subscribe to AI that can go in and read a comment from someone and rate whether it's a positive or negative comment based on the text, right? There's all these amazing offerings, and all you have to do is find them and subscribe to them. So this link here, maybe I will send you this in the chat window, and you can get at least an idea of some of the amazing capabilities that are just there. You just subscribe to it. You want to have a search engine that searches your content instead of the internet? Boom. Want to translate from one language to another? Boom. You want to be able to, instead of hiring a data entry person to take all these resumes or receipts and type them into our database, have AI type them into the database for you. Right? There's all these amazing capabilities, and they're right there for you. And you just have to subscribe. It's awesome. All right. Thank you so much for attending. Right? We have a Q&A. We have a minute left, but feel free to post any questions. But I do want to mention that you can claim, for attending this course, you can claim a badge, a Microsoft achievement code. There will be a link posted in the chat window. Give it a moment. There we go. That bit.ly link in the chat window will get you to the AI Microsoft Achievement Badge, or you can use your phone with the QR code there. Go hook up. Go. It's just a little achievement that you can add to your collection. And as you take more webinars and more classes, you can use that to kind of, pad your stats, pad your resume, show people that you've been learning things. Thank you so much again. I had so much fun. I love this stuff. If you have any other questions, lay it on me. Otherwise, I think we're out of time. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. I will go ahead and give our audience a little bit of time to just throw in like maybe one or two questions if they have it, but I just wanted to let our audience know that that is a free digital achievement badge for Microsoft's AI 900 course. And if you are unable to redeem the badge right now, or you are watching a recording of this webinar, you can still gain access to the free badge with the link you will receive in an email after the webinar. But it looks like we actually are good to go. I think the only question we had was about a recording. So thank you so much, Tom.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, and this was a lot of fantastic info for our audience. So if anyone needs any more info on this, please go ahead and visit us at newhorizons.com. And if you missed out on any part of the session, we will be sharing an email or a recording in an email after the webinar. So thanks again, Tom.
Thanks, everyone.
Alrighty. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today.